Hey, what's up, players? WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long. I just want to endorse some of my brothers that are doing an outstanding job of podcast. I'm talking about the first Black Champ podcast, one of the greatest podcasts of all time, and it's growing and growing each and every day. Talking about my man, J.R. Bang and Champ from the Port. Players, you better take a listen to him, and if you don't, I'll have J.R. Bang and Champ put them in a tag team match, and it's going to be a lot of trouble.
Oh yes. Man, oh man, hey listen. Sorry that we have been away. I've been traveling, and I think Bang has been drinking. And excuse the mess here. Today's secret word is relocation. All right. So every time you hear the word relocation, you know what to do. Scream. But that's not why we're here today. We are here on a special emergency pod, if you will, because one of the giants of professional wrestling, I think that's still an accurate description, and one of the I'm gonna start it off by saying one of the biggest falls from graces ever has passed away today. Terry Hulk Hogan Balea has passed, and hey man, you know what you come here to do, and we're here to do it like nobody else is going to do it on any other show, no matter how big or small. So hey, it is Thursday evening. It is 5:05. Shout to TBS, TNT, and that whole WCW era. Hey, listen, it's time for the first Black Champ podcast, and whoo, yeah! It's me, your podcast intercontinental champion, Champ from the Port.
And I am J.R. Bang via satellite from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Make sure you rate, like, subscribe, download wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Make sure you follow us on everything FBC POD. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at the FBC POD. We ain't gonna be long, you know what I'm saying, but I guess life ain't long either, considering what has happened today. We had to do this emergency pod real quick, had to step down. And yes, J.R. Bang has had a couple of Mexican mules, but he is still of sound mind and body, because if he wasn't, he would not be doing this podcast. But yes, Terry Hulk Hogan Balea has passed away at the age of 71. We've heard rumors about his health recently, kicking it off with what I want to say was Bubba the Love Sponge, that talked about some health issues that Hulk Hogan was having, and comas and all of that, and people refuted that, but according to reports, Hogan passed away after suffering from cardiac arrest from his home. Now, look, let's get the elephant in the room out the way real quick. There are mixed feelings,
For sure.
when it comes to the passing of Hulk Hogan, especially in the African American community. In fact, it is wild that 10 years ago today, Hulk Hogan's racial rant was exposed to the world, and of course got a number of African Americans, wrestlers, people, watchers of wrestling very upset about it. I will first say that I definitely understand the complicated legacy that is Hulk Hogan. As you've heard me on this podcast talk about, I'm somebody that was never the biggest Hulk Hogan fan. I was the fan of the person you have his shirt on, Macho Man Randy Savage. But I'm not going to underscore the legacy that is Hulk Hogan. This business would not be where it is right now if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
I was having a conversation while we were working here. I was having a conversation with people about Hulk Hogan, and arguably, Hulk Hogan was probably top 5 famous people in the 80s. And he might have been
five.
And he might have been 2, and Michael Jackson's number 1. Like,
absolutely.
Hulk Hogan, at one point in time, was definitely one of the most famous people in the world. With what he was doing with the WWF, you got Thunderlips with Rocky. You got all the work he did with the AWA. His first run with the WWF. You would be lying if you would say that Hulk Hogan didn't introduce you to wrestling if you are our age.
For sure.
At the same time, I'm going to understand people who just don't fuck with Buddy because of what happened 10 years ago today. So my feelings are not mixed. I'm not somebody who celebrates people's deaths. I acknowledge what they've done, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Terry Bollea has a complicated legacy. Hulk Hogan does not here. So Terry Bollea ain't shit. Hulk Hogan revolutionized the sport of what we talk about and have been talking about for 8 years on this podcast. And for most of our lives.
For sure, man. Excuse me. Yes. So I have a few things to say, and I like how you kicked this off. One, I think it was our show. I think it was the first Black Champ podcast. The last time that Hulk Hogan was on Raw or SmackDown or whatever show that was, and he came out there and they were booing. It was me that was like, yo, they tried him out there like he looked like he about to die. Now, granted, that did sound like internet fighter, but I was like, no, that man looks visibly sick. Like he doesn't look well. And when he could even like pose without it looking like he was shaking, and there were so many complications. Look, Jimmy Hart, ain't he like 10 years older than Hulk Hogan, and he looked 20 years younger that night. That now granted, that doesn't mean that you are absolutely or absolutely not taking care of yourself in the best way, but Hogan didn't look well, and dare I say, we kind of ignored that fact because, well, Terry Bollea is a racist. You know what I'm saying? And the world don't care when racists age badly. The world doesn't care when racists are looking down bad, or it doesn't look like it's going too good for them. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't matter. So we kind of gloss over it. Man, as you bring the stat that I didn't even realize, I was literally looking for this. Even in my notes that I have here, I didn't know it was like literally the to the day. But you know, the N-word rant dropping this time 10 years ago, and me personally witnessing, I don't know about you, and I'm trying to really think of so many people, but I don't think in my lifetime I've seen a bigger fall from grace than this. And I mean, hey, and we were here for Kramer. We're watching Will Smith, even though that's not really a down. We've seen Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, who's been famous for everybody's life. Even on the day he died, he went out on top. Why? Because at the end of the day, 12 people that didn't even look like him thought he was not guilty. You could say R. Kelly, but even R. Kelly at the peak of I Believe I Can Fly on the Space Jam soundtrack was never 85 Hulk Hogan. He was never that. So I don't think in my personal lifetime I've seen a fall from grace that's been greater than this. And I do I have a little mix of review and reaction myself, because I think about these things all the time. Like for instance, so like let's get to this, right? I purchased this shirt way before 2015. I purchased this way before 2015. And you know, a lot of things that came to my mind when you hit the chat up and was like, yo, Hulk Hogan dead, I was like, yeah, right. Like dead out here in these streets, yeah, for sure. But it made me think, like, you know, and look, if this was 1995, I would have cried like a baby on this day, because my childhood is synonymous as a wrestling fan with Hulk Hogan. Dude, even in 2005, I probably still would have cried like a baby. Like, because wrestling, and this is before we even do this show, but wrestling is such a big part of the fabric of our lives. And Hulk Hogan is definitely an entry point for me. But I won't lie to you, Banks. Since 2015, I've been waiting for this day. And I don't mean waiting for this day as in like I have any kind of joy or elation, or I'm going to give like a rest in piss shout out or anything like that. No. I've been waiting on this day since 2015, because I've been waiting for this day to know and understand how I would feel when this day came. And to a degree, for me personally, I'm out of feels. I don't necessarily know what to feel right now, because just as you said, on one hand, we have Hulk Hogan, this wrestling character created by Vince McMahon, Titan Sports, and the WWF at the time, to be this national treasure, to be this incredible superstar who would become the blueprint for how they would market and push a Bret Hart, a Shawn Michaels, a Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rock, Taker even, and John Cena. But then you have Terry Bollea, the guy that played him, the guy that tried to embody this character, even tried to use the character Hulk Hogan to get himself out of his own case. And it's hard to blur the lines as an adult when you see this and when this goes down. It's just like, what do you even feel at a time like this? Because is this the part of the wrestling fandom where we say, well, wrestling is scripted, so it's okay? Or is it, nah, let's bury this like we bury Chris Benoit? Because the flip side of it for me is also, if Hogan was to pass in the midst of Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, how are we looking at it versus now? And when we find out all the, as Brandon said, reprehensible shit later, like what does that look like? So I'll be honest, as we sit here and process, I don't even know how to feel. I just know that this day, I think to a degree, everybody's action and reaction is justified, because we can't be remiss that also in the midst of all of this, no matter how we feel, as Black people, Black wrestling fans, it was white people calling Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea a piece of shit for decades before this that had nothing to do with anything that went public.
So, real quick, because we're not gonna, no, there's not gonna be a long pod. We'll have more this Sunday on the first Black Champ. But let me first say that for anybody calling people coons because they are, for any Black person calling another Black person a coon because they have a feeling about Hulk Hogan's death. See, this is why I don't take social media seriously. Because if you call me a coon, I have a long memory and I'll fight you. For those who might not know or have not heard the first, no, the Some Dude episode about my issue with a certain R&B singer, 20 years ago yesterday, me and this man here moved to Atlanta, Georgia with 2 other people. So that story y'all know about is 20 years old. I still don't like that man. So I have a long memory. So while I'm not the biggest Terry Bollea fan or Hulk Hogan fan, I never was, I do respect the wrestling side of this is not a $1 billion business without him.
Yeah.
This is Michael Jordan passing away in wrestling. This is Babe Ruth. This is Wayne Gretzky or Gordie Howe. This is the biggest known figure in this business passing away. And this man has made, from not only wrestling, but them kitty ass movies some of y'all was watching, from the cartoon, this man is in pop culture. He's a Jeopardy question or a Jeopardy answer, a Jeopardy question, however you want to put it. This man has done so much. 10 years ago, we found out he wasn't shit. Jesse the Body Ventura told us years ago he wasn't shit because he busted up the union. Billy Graham, superstar Billy Graham, was like, he ain't shit because he takes steroids and he took my moves. He took my whole swag, right? We get it. But people have the right, let me just say this, that people have the right of any race to feel the way that they feel about this man. Because even though all of those people booed him when he came out that day, they didn't boo him because he was a Trump supporter. Because there's plenty of Trump supporters that walk out, including one who rode out in a motorcycle, who actually had him on a podcast. All right? Who actually talked to this man. So that's one. But 2, watch who y'all calling coons and shit. Let me just say that. Because people got long memories, and you call somebody a coon and they see you, you can't say, man, that was just social media. Watch it. That's all I'm going to say to some folks. Because if somebody called me a coon, for my opinion, if I see you, we're going to have a real conversation. With that being said, with that being said, though, it is that fall from grace thing that you said was not only a very on point statement, it's sometimes you don't want to meet or know more about your heroes. Look, Hulk Hogan thought he was saying that shit in the luxury of his home without nobody being around. And I will be the first to say, I know I said some wild shit with no cameras around and no microphone around, because even if I mention the nationality, this man will laugh uncontrollably. So, but it's not excusing what Hulk Hogan has done. It's just, man, we all said some shit. But it is shedding light on the fact that complicated history with Hulk Hogan. See? It is shedding light on the fact that the complicated history of Hulk Hogan is way more than about racism. When you hear about Jesse the Body Ventura say that he wanted to form a union before WrestleMania 2, and Hulk Hogan went to Vince McMahon, was like, yo, Jesse was trying to start that union. Or blocking people from the spotlight. When you hear about some of the things that happen in WCW, there's going to be a lot of wrestlers outside of I grew up watching him that are going to applaud him for what he's doing. You got to respect that, because a lot of them probably wouldn't have jobs. A lot of them wouldn't do some of the things they're doing that was without him. But it's okay to acknowledge all of that. But where I draw the line at is when people are shaming people for somebody who was an integral part of their childhood. Because little do y'all know, and some cases y'all know, and y'all still play his music. There are a lot of people in this world who ain't shit, but gave you joy. Your parents could be one of them. Your parents could be one of them. So it's just, I would say, for me, until it happens to somebody else, Hulk Hogan's passing is the most complicated that I've ever had to deal with. Because simply to me, Hulk Hogan dying is like, damn, that shit fucked up, fam. Fuck dude, though. But damn, that shit fucked up. That is literally the best way that I can explain my feelings. Damn, that's fucked up. But he racist as hell. Fuck dude. But even though I wasn't a Hulk Hogan fan like that growing up, WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 4, the shirt that you got on, WrestleMania 5, where I was pissed off as hell that Macho Man lost to this man. When you look at the fact that 2/3 of the original NWO are now dead. When you now look at pay-per-views like WrestleMania 8, and damn near everybody on that pay-per-view outside of like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair are dead. And Ric Flair just said that he's cancer-free. He had his health issue. And also, if you let Teddy Long tell it, he be calling people niggas too. And we got a whole song with him and Offset. This is the most complicated I've ever felt about a death, a celebrity death in my life. Because even though I was not a fan of his, I know the legacy that he has inside of that ring. But outside of it, Terry Bollea has done some wild ass shit to hold people down, to be racist, to be demeaning, to be all of those things. So we'll unpack more on Sunday, but you can't tell me that you were not a Hulkamania fan. And you can't tell me that your love of wrestling did not start with Hulk Hogan if you were born between 80 to 1984.
For sure. I would even venture to say 78, 77, 78.
Yeah.
In that mix too. No, you're right. I'll save the comments that my mom has for the show on Sunday because it's my mom. She's crazy. But no, man. Again, I just co-sign. I co-sign all your sentiments. Yeah, you know what? To the people that are out there, that you were speaking to, that's like, y'all talking down on other black people, calling them coons or whatever. My thing is keep that same energy for your supervisor. Keep that same energy for the white girl who you nail into the cross and her daddy hates you and you scared to walk in his house. You keep that same energy. And also just be mindful of all of your heroes if that's this thing. Because to me, if coon behavior is you co-signing or sympathizing, empathizing, or whatever would have you to anybody causing black detriment, then we gotta get some black people the fuck out of here too then. And look, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. If we run in the gauntlet and everybody get it, that's not for the betterment of us, and you know what I mean by us, then cool, then let's have at it. Again, man, it's art, life, sports, and entertainment. So I am I'm never really at odds with how anybody feels about anybody when they die. As I look back at it, so I look because look, one of my favorite quotes of myself that I never put on a t-shirt is that nobody is loved or hated by everybody. So you dig, is like, that and that's why I don't go out of my way to tell y'all about people I don't like, except Johnny Wrestling, it's fuck him. But when we're doing real life assessments and people are talking about, oh, this person, that person, I and Bang's been around for 20 years now. So he can attest to this. I don't believe there's ever been a time where I have led the lyrical lynch mob, if you will, of making sure that I down somebody else because I know somebody else like them or mess with them or are celebrating them. Just like, yo, it ain't for me. Let me leave. Or it's like, okay, that's your man's. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that's kind of how I leave it. And I wish everybody would do the same thing, because at the end of the day, man, The people that's talking for real are the wrestling fans. And we shouldn't even be at odds on this at all either. That there's time for constructive conversation and obviously for criticism and critique, but we as a wrestling community shouldn't even be on that type of time. That's super lame behavior. I don't even get that. I don't understand it. But that's all I'll say for now. We need to save something for Sunday. But that definitely does it for me. Just hey, yo, man, watch your mouth and mind your manners, man. You get slapped in real life out here.
Yeah, that's look. That's why I said you call me a coon for my opinion. If I see you, we gotta have a conversation. And don't say, oh man, nah, we gonna have a conversation. I tread lightly on those joints. With that being said, like look, it is the most complicated celebrity death that I've had to deal with.
Yeah.
And knowing that this business that I truly love might not have been started by him, might not have been founded by him, but is a $1 billion business built off of the back of people like him and him being the top of that. Like, I think, yeah, Kim just said it, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper, and this is how I think I want to end this show. Kim has a great point. Don't be a shitty person so people can't celebrate your death.
Fair.
I'll venture to say that depending on how big of a celebrity you are, people gonna think you ain't shit in the first place.
Yeah.
People ain't gonna think you ain't shit that you don't aid aid it, but there's a Michael Jackson feels like to me a celebrity that's been wronged, and he was not a shitty person, but there would be a person who don't know Michael Jackson from a can of paint that'll paint him as a molester. With that being said, we ain't ever seen Michael Jackson in the act, but we heard Hulk Hogan, and in hearing Hulk Hogan, I sympathize with his family, sympathize for his son. I sympathize with his daughter because they were not in a good place when he died. And that's the one thing that I hate for anybody to not be in a good place with their kids or with their parents before they die. So I empathize on that. I empathize for the family of Hulk Hogan and the people that loved him. People like Jimmy Hart, Brian Knobbs, Haku, all of these people that roll with him. What I don't sympathize with is racism and knowing that is probably the case for Hulk Hogan. Can't sympathize for that.
Extorting the homies.
Yeah, I'm not with that. But
banging out their wives and all of that on camera and lying in court. Nah, we ain't with that.
Yeah, but with that being said, you can still acknowledge that this person is on Mount Rushmore for ain't shit people, ain't shit celebs, but he's also on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling royalty. Yeah. So on Sunday's show, Hungover, we're going to talk about the life and legacy of Hulk Hogan. Where were we when we first heard of Hogan? Some of our first memories of Hulk Hogan. Some of our favorite matches and moments of Hogan. We also going to talk about the bad shit. We're going to talk about the Bubba Love Sponge incident. We're going to talk about the racial incident. We're going to talk about the union incident. We're going to talk about some of the things that happened in WCW. We're going to talk about all of that on Sunday's show. So y'all make sure that y'all here for that. But again, 70 years old, my father just turned 69. So I still think that's young. But the toll that is taken on your body with some of the things that you put in it that don't belong in there, the things that you have to do to compete and all of that, it is no surprise that at 71 years old, we've lost somebody like this. But but you can celebrate the person. And this is what I think I want to get out before I pass my final to Cam for final words.
Mm-hmm.
You can celebrate a man, but still at the same time point out their faults. Because there's no man without fault. Everybody leaves here with some type of complicated legacy because you don't know everybody. But you can celebrate somebody and still say that there's a complicated piece of this legacy that must be discussed when you're talking to them or talking about them. And we're going to do that on Sunday's episode of First Black Champ. We're going to celebrate Hulk Hogan, the wrestler. But we're going to also talk about the complicated legacy that this man has, to which there are people who look at this not as a day of celebration, but a day of good riddance.
Mm-hmm.
And totally understand that. But again, if you call us a coon, we will find you. And we will beat your ass.
Oh, yeah. No warning either.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, brother. I'll say that. I'll wait. I'll wait for the show on Sunday. Man, yes. Without the risk of giving out too much more of the show that we have planned, because I got more notes, obviously, myself as well. I do, again, to all of the people that depended on the brand that is Hulk Hogan, I mean, depend on it as like, yo, I lived off of this, I ate off of this, and because who knows? I mean, obviously, even until his death, Hulk Hogan was still considered somewhat of a draw, and he was getting money and endorsements and new business ventures. So I am not going to sit here today and just assume that Linda, Brooke, and is it Nick Hogan? His first family and his new girl and all this other stuff. I'm not going to assume that they shared the same sentiments and things of that nature. I won't say that that they had the same views and live by the same fabric of him. But I do want to offer them my condolences. Hey, as somebody that has always experienced parental strain in both sections of life, I don't want to understand the celebration of somebody that they're depending on dying like that, and a big fear of a lot of people, even in my personal life. People are passing and people are not on good terms when they pass. So I do want to be very sensitive just to those people specifically. I don't know who Big Jim is, but hey, thanks for tuning in for the first time ever. But we will talk more in depth about the curious and checkered life and lifestyle of Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea this Sunday on our show. Man, we thank y'all for tuning in for this the special just reaction episode. You know what I'm saying? Small clip for y'all. We're gonna get back to it. Hey, if you tune in, you'll find out. And we appreciate all of you, whether it's the first time or the next time or the last time. Either way, it's all good. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for checking out this just appetizer, if you will. We'll give you the rest of the show, a more detailed show this Sunday. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and week and weekend. And listen, man, if you ever want to talk about wrestling in an unconventional way, you still do so by checking out the First Black Champ podcast. Shout to B-Dot, shout to Donnie, shout to Kim, Brandon, and Banks, and Jonathan Hood. Thank y'all for all tuning in. Hey, we just start doing Thursday evening episodes apparently, because hey, that's when the engagement is great, and we'd love to have y'all in here as well. Thank you, and fuck Johnny Wrestling.